Hi guys, thanks for joining me, and you're back here with Mel. And yeah, thanks for joining this podcast and listening to Oh Mel. I was just thinking the other day about my love for fighting. Yep, I was a little scrapper when I was younger, and I was a little scrapper when I was a teenager, and I was a little scrapper when I got into my 20s, and I was a little scrapper when I was in my 30s. And now the only scrapping I do is hitting that boxing bag in the gym or play fighting with my children. But yeah, I was thinking about the love for fighting. Have I got a love for fighting? Do I love fighting is what I ask myself. Or was it ingrained into me? Or was it forced upon me? Or was I exposed to it? I don't really know what the answer is to that. However, I know that I was taught how to fight. Not only did I have to survive the fight of my life growing up as a child, but I remember when I came to England. Yep, I'm going to use some words here that was thrown at me when I came to this country that I'd never heard before. I was told I was a gollywog. I was called a nigger. I was called a blackie. I was called packy. I was told that I looked like poo. And I was called mudface, gollywog, wog. All of these things I was called, and I would say, thank you, because I didn't know what they meant. I'd never heard them before coming from Trinidad. And I just recall going home one day and saying, this is what was said to me. And my parents' face just dropped. And my stepdad was like, oh, no, Duck, that's not a good thing. Duck, that's being racist. And I was like, what's that mean? And then my mum was like, they're being racist? What are they being racist for? What they say to you? They say what? And then I'd say it again. And then my dad was like, oh, no, Duck, they're calling you bad names. And I was like, huh? So my mum was like, don't let anybody call you no stinking bad name. Don't let anyone call you no gollywog. You're not no gollywog. And she would go off. And then I was like, so I was made aware. If you don't have a knowledge and you don't know what something is, you're in ignorance or you're innocent or naive to it. So sometimes that's why they say what you don't know won't hurt you. I actually agree to that because I didn't know what they were saying and what it meant, and it didn't hurt me. It only hurt me when I found out that it was wrong, and who told me it was wrong was my parents. Were they in the wrong for telling me this? Not really. However, the way I was told to handle it could have been classed as totally wrong. But I'll share that with you right now. So I came home again, crying this time, because it had affected me so badly, because I now knew what they were saying to me wasn't good, and I was being called racist names. And I came home crying. Oh, mommy, daddy, they say this to me at school, and they say this, they call me nigger, they call me gollywog, they call me packy, they call me this, they call me that. And I was reeling it off, and I was crying. And my mother turned around and said, if you don't stop crying, I'm going to punch you myself and make you cry even more. The next thing she said was, the next time you come home crying over these stinking ass people, watch what will happen to you. I was so frightened. I was now being threatened because I came home crying about what had been done to me, and I was being told, go to school, make sure I hit them, make them bleed, and don't come home crying again like that. Wow. So yeah, so instead of being comforted, instead of being told it's okay, instead of being reassured in safety and saying you're loved, you're not a gollywog, you're not ugly, you're not poo, instead of being reassured and comforted, I was told to fix up, stop the crying, put on my fighting hat and get to that school and beat everybody, lick their ass, as my mum would say. Give them plenty licks and bust them in the ass, bust them in the jaw and bust them in the face, and make sure you bust their nose and make it bleed. So this is what I was being told. Yeah. So as I said before at the beginning of this podcast, did I enjoy fighting? Do I love it? Was it ingrained in me? Is it by choice? I don't know if it's a combination. Anyhow, I went to school, and it's like overnight I became violent. I was like, Before someone even said something to me, I went and I punched them. Before someone said anything to me, I kicked them. And not only that, my sister was bigger than me and she was known for fighting and being strong. We ganged up and we paired up and we were fighting people. I remember getting so wild and so aggressive, and I wasn't going to let anybody send me home to get beaten by my parents. I'll beat them before that happens. I remember one time a teacher trying to get in the middle of the fight, and I kicked that teacher in she belly, and I was like, move out the way, what are you doing in my way? I didn't see the dangers in kicking the teacher in her belly. I didn't see the danger in disrespecting the teacher, because all I cared for at that time was respecting and honouring my mother's instructions, even if it meant kicking my teacher and getting excluded and put into isolation. Yes, guys, I said that. That's how bad it was. So I became this little fighter and full of aggression and full of aggressiveness. And if you saw, well, you will see some of the pictures, because the pictures are going to be some of my podcast cover pictures. You will see I'm only a tiny little thing that looked like Michael Jackson from Jackson 5, yeah. And I became this little bully. The bully became, the one that had been bullied became the bully. Yes, overnight. And was it any choice of my own, or was I following instructions? I was following instructions. Did I enjoy fighting? Well, in the end, because I became very good at it and I had so much aggression inside of me and so much to give and make sure I beat someone because of what was happening at home, that, yeah, don't get on the wrong side of my little fist because you're going to get it. So guys, that's how my fighting journey began. Not only was I fighting for survival, but I had to fight to make sure I didn't get beaten, and fight to prove a point, and fight to make my mum pleased. And was she even pleased? No, I don't think she was pleased. However, I had a sense of satisfaction that I was finally getting my mum's approval and attention and care that I'd craved. That this was one of the ways that would be pleasing to her, and therefore I would make sure that I uphold it and kept it as a priority of my young life. So guys, that's how my fighting started, and I just thank God for his forgiveness and that I've forgiven myself. And if anyone's listening to this podcast that I met when I first came to England, and you may know me, please, I'm sending out my apology to you if you were at the end of my little fist or foot or headbutt. I do truly apologize. And thanks for listening to me again. Thanks for joining me on the OMEL podcast. It's been brilliant being able to share life experience with you. Please like, subscribe, and feel free to share to someone that may benefit from this. Take care and God bless you.